Hello, everyone. I'm Soumya Prasada, and thanks for joining today's session, AI powered intelligent automation. Uh, I'm just going to cover some of the market trend, why we need intelligent automation now, and a couple of the use cases. Since it is a brief 1 hour call, I'll try to cover this agenda. Why intelligent automation is at the center now, and what is actually industry facing the challenges. Let me take a few minutes to go over this. That we have all seen the great digital shift, and the companies are actually into their digital transformation. But actually, suddenly the digital acceleration happened from 2019 to 2020 in a great, like it is from 16% to move to a 34% because of a pandemic. We have all seen that how actually, uh, some of the companies had to shift and go digital in those unprecedented times. Those enterprises or those businesses which actually was ahead of the market and really embrace this disruption very well. The companies which were more digital first were able to actually cope up during that time, and even their business revenues have been really grown in multifold, and they were able to give a great customer experience, also retain their customer. But those companies actually, which were either they have started their digital journey but could not complete, and they were not the digital first, they have really struggled during that time, and they were not being able to provide their service. And the, in basically, automation really came as a necessity or in the center stage during these time. it, since 10 years, every company is into some or the other automation journey. But now all CEO, as per the, their automation strategies are very well aligned with the business strategy. This was actually that digital acceleration what we have seen in this 2 to 3 years is actually got intelligent automation into the center. The second market challenge why intelligent automation being embraced now is actually growing complexity. Uh, ITC Worldwide Application Services done in a survey in 2021. I have provided all of the resources that whatever this market trends have been picked up. That 50% of organizations estimate they have up to 100 application in their portfolio today. What it means is like IT complexity for the business. Also, the broad set of architecture, infrastructure, and technologies available to build these applications. You can see that in some of the companies, each of the solution is built on a different technologies. Also, they have been hosted. Some are being hosted on cloud, some are hosted on bare metal, some are hosted on VM, virtual servers. Some are on data centers. It's like actually in a hybrid deployment. So that makes enterprise or a business IT footprint more complex. That means that they have a challenge to get that single view of data. Also, to maintain the performance of the applications, they need to monitor all of these applications. And how can they get one single pane view, right? This is what is actually, growing complexity for an enterprise. That in the automation, IT automation helps enterprises to solve this problem. This is the second market trend or a business challenge. The third one is basically we all have seen that talent and skill shortages. So, based on the future of work, the report 2022 report says that actually by 2030, demand for skilled workers will outstrip the supply. As we have, as I've talked about that, there is a so many technology choices we have, and so many technologies that you need to upskill your talent, and these technologies are keep changing also. Now, like, um, now you hear a lot of AI and generative AI, right? If you see 1 year back, they were not the forefront. They were there, but they haven't advanced this much. So much skill shortage, and all, I mean, skill talent shortage, I would say that, right? Because are they industry ready? Are they able to really help the businesses? Are they able to give a support to the particular solution? Are they able to build the product or service? So there is a shortage of skill talent for each of the business. So this is also this is the main reason also that each of the company has to see their, along with their business strategy, what is their automation strategy. And you can see that if what is it has been predicted that because of this skill talent shortage, we will not be able to there are 8.5 trillion dollars is an unrealized annual revenues we will be going to lose due to the talent shortage, and then estimated number of jobs which will be which it to be in, I mean, could be unfilled by 2030 is 85 million. It's huge. So now that is why all of the enterprise businesses are looking to invest on the automation. So there is companies that get automation right will outperform those that don't, which we have already clearly seen during the pandemic world. So how actually today businesses are prioritizing their investment decisions. So couple of the insights into that, that of course, for any business, they are there to make a revenue growth and a market share. So that is what is the key drivers for the business. And the second is the customer experience and engagement and retention. Then increase innovation, because innovation will help the company to have that delighted customer experience, its speed and scale. For that, it is very important that you need to have an innovation, right? And very, very important is actually increase workforce responsiveness and productivity. So productivity, right? Today, every company is seeing that how can they really upskill their talent, and also that the talent is productive. That those repetitive tasks and unproduct basically repetitive task, which is actually taking a more time of their productive time, right? The most businesses sometimes that the kind of operational work what they have to do, maybe it is an approval of some of the, for an banking use case, then it will be an approval of maybe opening the application and seeing that okay, all of the KYC has been done, so that it has been moved into the next stage, just reviewing the application, right? So these kind of work actually, and sending a mail, doing a follow up, which can be those repetitive tasks can be actually leveraged or augmented for the user with the tools and solutions. So how can companies are really working towards that? how actually the talent can be augmented with the digital labor, so that the human can attend the higher value work. The repetitive works can be given to the digital labor. So that is what the companies, the priorities also. So these are the four, investment areas that the companies are looking to achieve their revenue, customer experience, innovation, and their workforce happiness. So the power of automation, as I mentioned, that intelligent automation, we will see in the session that how it can actually automate the knowledge worker. But intelligent automation refers to a powerful and continually evolving set of technologies for automating knowledge work and augmenting the work of a human knowledge worker. What it means is like there is a varied technologies, how that innovation can help the human to be productive in their day-to-day work, also free up actually the talent work so that they can do the higher higher order thinking, or a very important is basically talking to the customer, how they identifying that what is that the process is actually is ineffective. These kind of are really where the human intelligence needed, right? So that that freed up time can be used for a other higher value work. So for any company, it is very important that when we start their journey, like example, I'm more talking here about an enterprise, for an enterprise company, how they really start their automation journey. So this is also kind, you need to identify first. I mean, when you go to the customer, first you have to understand that where exactly they need what. First you need to understand what is that the process they need to automate, what would be an ROI for that, right? All of those discussion, any before giving any automation path for the customer, we always do the lot of assessment, and what is that for each of the customer, what is actually it is important. Why I am talking about all of these, that since it is a very booming area, that automation, it could be a business automation, it could be an IT automation, and also automation towards how to increase the productivity of the talent. So all these three different touch points. One, um, you, there is a lot of talent needed in this space. You can learn those skills and you can be an SME, right? You might learn the you can learn that what are the different tools and solutions are available already out there. Is there any gaps that actually to take to the customer into this journey? And you can build it. You can be an entrepreneur and you can build it, or you can start working in these automation products and solutions. You can be a consultant to the business, or you can implement support. There is a various job roles are there, which is actually today lot of openings in the intelligent automation space. So that is why, I just wanted to talk about that. It's very important that you need to take, you have to understand the customer business, where they are there in the journey for an automation. And then it should be a ladder approach, because otherwise those automation will not be giving a great ROI for the customer. So we first start with actually anything to automation side first. Whether first step is basically digitize and automate the work. So that is very important, right? That any process or any operation, if it is not digitized, it's very difficult to go into the next journey of applying the intelligence. First is digitization. So basically in this phase we see more of a making business more efficient and ready through the digitization, like how actually their particular business processes the incoming documents. How do you extract the important information of any document? It could be it is basically the kind of you, let's take that you have an invoice document. So there might be a for the enterprise companies who are dealing with their businesses which invoice, they might have to deal the invoices thousands and thousands, right? And today they are all doing this as a manual, and there is a huge talent is working behind this repetitive task of extracting the invoice ID, doing those data entry and stuff. Then first is basically how do you do this digitization and extract that's the first, right? And then um, how actually that's the first is actually how do you digitize the content, how do you eliminate the paper? You might be getting these invoice informations from various channels, right? It could be through the web, it could be through the mobile, which could be like through the emails, fax, many format, right? How do you actually you know you have how do you make sure that you digitize for this? As I mentioned that the uh, the 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 flow, the input might be coming from the different sources. You need to have the workflow, right? So you have to see that define the workflow. There are tools, there are applications. So how do you really manage your workflow? Like, and how do you really first is eliminate the paper, and then second is also that in for any of the businesses, right? It is important that once you digitize the content, how do you store it, right? Because today the compliance and security and a compliance is a very important for the business, right? Even the security, and if they the securely data privacy, right? Securely data is not being stored. The auditing purpose or any of this process can have a breakdown, right? So it is once you digitize, you think that how do you can manage the workflows and also store this data safely, and then like automate the manual task, right? Automate the manuals. It could be simple at times that once you extract, once you store it, that you might have to put it into the other applications. For that you can use an RPA bots to do the automate those tasks. So first usually we see in the space that how do we digitize. There are tools and platforms, or client doesn't want to buy any product and any sometimes they do build, but that journey is a long journey of you really have to, because in today's market you do have a very established products to digitize, and even the store these digitized content with governance, and then automate the decision. So automate the decision is in a very again a decision engine you need to automate, right? Let's take an example of for a banking. When you simple the customer the customer come to your website and he wants to open an account, and today you can see that most of it is actually a digitized. But how they will digitize, actually they are using the tools and solution behind the scene to automate this flow, right? Otherwise you would go to a bank and then there are a set of process you will the process you need to follow, and also the set of documents you need to submit. So same what today we have done is like you go to the website through your mobile app or your to the desktop, uh, go there and you can see that open an account, right? So open an account which will give you an application. Then this application need to be stored properly, and then it will ask you for the KYC to do it. So when you are uploading, this has to be secure and stored so that whatever the document you upload, it is used only for the context and the purpose in the context of opening the account. So, the company cannot use these documents for any other purposes, right? So that process, right? Now, once you open an account, actually, usually what happens is others that they might check your address proof and whatever their decision to whatever the process bank has to make a decision that, hey, this person, I mean, we want to give a savings account to this person, right? By looking at the application details and the document, right? This decision now you have to automate. Then you need to have a tools where it has been defined what exactly that human will do, right? He will observe and he will extract all of the details, review those details, and there is actually a for each of the flow that okay when it has to be in what are the scenarios that you can open an account, right? Need to automate through the technology now. And also, it is very important that you have to think of a solution where it has to be a low code because these are all business user. You always have to think that, okay, whoever is doing the decision, right? He need not know any technology or anything. For him, it is simple. It provides that all the data it present actually an application the present one form with all of the details which is actually customer has been submitted, and then he just have to see that whether he is eligible or not. So behind the scene usually we have a decision products which will actually you can configure what are the parameters based on your business processes, and it will go and fetch automatically all of those parameters and give a recommendation in that form for the user saying that hey whether you can approve or not. Again at the end it is human in the loop that whether to approve or not. Usually in all of the companies we keep this decision as a recommendation, not automate. Maybe there might be some threshold that the decisions follows within this configuration, then you can approve. So usually the first stage that we mostly try to automate digitization workflows and their the decision engine, so that the the speed in which they can actually give any experience to the customer is really scalable and it is delightful for the customer. Example, if anybody today is able to open the savings account within 10 minutes digitally sitting at their home, I mean, that's a great delight experience for the customer, and I'm sure he's going to stay on with that kind of bank, right? So this is what we start off with, digitize and automate. Now, once you have actually when you have all these process in place that apply the intelligence. Okay, there will be what? How do you apply the intelligence? Is main your fundamental thing for everything. All of these thing is actually your data. You extract the structured data and unstructured because you have already automated your digitization process, and in your digitization platform is able to extract the structured data and unstructured documents, and also on that, now you can actually apply the AI models to a text on and content, and you can automate the mini decision. So this is how actually your second phase of your automation you take it. Once all the processes, decisions, or flows have been automated, and even um, the task you can automate in that, and all the data is available, then that is where a lot of intelligence and a lot of models you will apply. And example, you can see that lot of banks today, uh, basically earlier, while they are giving any business loan or a home loan or any type of a loan, It was a much manual process that uh, they had to check so many parameters and uh, the customer actually how exactly the customer financial history, right? It could be a credit card and very other parameters also, so that they can whether they will, what is that, customer is eligible to get the loan, so that it's not risky loan, right? But today you can see that there is a lot of AI models have been uh, implemented in the large bank, where the moment you get a banking applications, they apply these models and check, right? And also, since it's in a as our IT footprints are very open, and lot of your uh, your credit scores and all of these kind of details can be retrieved, and it is very open, and in a minute, actually, the AI model will be able to suggest that whether this loan has to be approved or not. Because since you have a lot of data on that, you are uh, applying the AI once, so it will augment, right? So that is what you second phase, when your first stage of automation is done, then the customer usually go into the journey of applying an intelligent. So next is actually remix human and automated work to increase the productivity. So what is it? The this phase that augmenting your workforce is. Example, how can one talent can do the multiple work, right? So that there is an automation. Example today, maybe in the same scenario, if you take to approve maybe loan or opening the account, maybe today that the person who is actually doing this approval process has to log into the multiple system and the multiple data he has to validate. Instead of that, if he has an actually natural language way to converse with maybe a virtual assistant or in a search, saying that, hey, can you get me all the loans which are in which is waiting for my approval. If the system understands and understand the context that what the user is telling, and go back and identify based on his user credential what he has got access to and what he is not access to, goes and actually retrieve the information from the right banking platform and retrieve saying that all of, hey, here is what is actually presented to the user, saying that here is what actually that 10 applications waiting for your review, right? It's like in a minute he's able to do that. Otherwise this would take maybe in an hour, right? So now that the third phase, everybody is like, once you have all automation in place, data is in place, you have applied an intelligent, then third stage is how you can augment your workforce and increase the productivity. That is what the journey we have seen. And then I've been working in this space and in an intelligent automation and in IBM. We do have a platforms like Cloud Pak for automation, Cloud Pak for AI ops for an IT automation, that which helps in the customer's intelligent automation journey. And there might be in the market many others. You can, I mean, all of the company or some of the enterprise companies have developed in-house these solutions also. What I'm trying to say is actually it is important you understand actually how the journey should be. If you want to the augment your workforce without having that basic automation in place of an decision workflow, our bot, and then digitization of the content, it is, you will not be able to achieve to the third stage, like which is augmenting your workforce. So these are very important, that when you go to the customer before you are starting, actually You need to do this analysis and then always start with low hanging that so that customer sees the automation benefit. Otherwise, if you take a long time, that 6 months time, and there is no customer is not able to see the benefits, then he is not going to continue that automation. And then whenever there is a market disruption, he's really going to I mean, basically, it will be tough for the business. So anytime when you are in this place, please think about that. Hey, is this foundational things are in place? Then only we can actually take their journey to the next level. So we talk actually with the customer saying that always like automation has to be like thought about the people, make people more productive, make business more scalable, and system more resilient. As I talked about the in this challenges place, right? That uh, first make people more productive. How do you do that? You augment the users, right? Today, because of our compute, AIs, and then different automation skills, you get user can be upfront by a system can calculate and give a lot of recommendation for a user to take a right decision. That is what we call it as an augment, right? And even the measure, right? So today in a single pane view through a technology, we can bring all of those silos application and give a single view to the user through the data that what is that happening for that process, right? So the user is able to measure, and also user is actually what is mind, right? User is also able to people should be able to, how do we, like example in the invoice process, maybe that the invoice process has a certain workflows, and there are some stuck somewhere, like maybe in the stage of up maybe payment or any of the stages, right? So today through the technology we do have a ability that to identify the bottlenecks, right? That will augment the people. That is what is actually a mining, right? So in that, mining is more of a process mining, what we call. Those are the technologies which will really help the business to tell that, hey, this is your process, but in this process continuously we see that there is in a certain place there is a bottleneck. So that details, if the user has, then they will be more productive, and either business can take a decision that in that process the efficient way to change the process, or doing that same process in an efficient way. They can identify what are the gaps and implement it also, and build it, right? So once you know what are the gaps, it will easy for the business to implement also the course correction. So this is how actually we see that most complete and integrated set of modular technologies, which uh, the automation helps the people to be more productive through augmentation, measure different reports, and then even they are being able to identify that what are the bottlenecks in the processes and in any of the flows, and build. And then how we can make more scalable, one is definitely digitize and integrate. As we talked today, there is thousands of application in the enterprise business, that it's very important that it should be in a connected component so that the information flows from one system to other seamlessly. So there is an automation needed in the integration space also, right? And then orchestrate. Orchestrate is basically how do you orchestrate complete your the whole your business footprints and make system more resilient. So now your all applications are being your backbone. It's right. Your IT system is in a backbone for your application. So your application has to run seamlessly and availability will be in, you know, five nines. That means even a sum of the milliseconds, your website cannot come down. It's like your IT systems are really a backbone, and that needs to have a resilience, right? How do you make sure that, like as we talked in the previous stage, that once it is all integrated, then it's very important that you need to have a set of uh, tools and solutions which continuously observe this in an autopilot mode, right? Because you can't afford to do this as a manual task. Somebody is actually monitoring it, and you have to automate there, right? Which is like to observe all of these applications which is related for your business. And also you have to have a strategy that, okay, what kind of an applications need really the where you need to really strengthen your some of the maybe internal process of your IT may not need really the guardians of tight guardians to monitor, right? Because those things like observe whole of these IT footprint is also you need to, I mean, you have to make it very simple for people, right? What the 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 user who is actually like it could be a DevOps or an SRE who is able to understand, though they are not like they do not know what is actually that application cater into and who is the user of this application, but they should be able to get the full stack view from the system perspective, that from an application where exactly it has been hosted, where exactly it's been deployed, is this in a containerized or whether it is in a data center. All of these can be done only through the automated tools, and then correlate. It's very important that it's able to correlate. What it means is you have your workflow, you have an automated your workflow operations. Now the workflow is running on maybe in some of the cloud, and that cloud goes down. Now you should be able to correlate and see that, hey, now once this particular system in the the infrastructure level has gone down, then what is the implication for the business? That means this business application is being used for maybe invoice processing. Now my invoice processing SLA is going to be missed. So you need to have such correlation of the systems which actually correlate the IT data into the business data. And then definitely once you have a continuous observation, you have a data, it is very important that prevent and remediate, right? The moment so on that you apply the AI models and prevent it, you're seeing the pattern for the particular system, and before even it is goes down, you're seeing that, hey, uh, while the I have seen the pattern that this is going to impact in another 2 hours, and maybe this particular pod is going to go down, uh, which so that they can do a preventive rather than the reactive measures. So in all of this space today, actually, there's a lot of automations are happening. There are tools and solutions available to make people more productive, to make business scalable and system more resilient. So down you can see that it is more of a different platform. The choice of platform, what the user can go. It could be, it may be in a hybrid data centers, containerized, different clouds, right? And any of these applications. Through your integration, you will bring that into the seamless. Each all of these applications are talking, and these platforms are talking, so that that observability for all of these applications become simple. So where actually, this is the slide where, like, how can we make more productive is basically um, spend more time on getting actionable insight from your data and improve business outcomes rather than just copy how it will help the user, right? If you have an business automation in place and also IT automation in place. It will allow you get an actionable insights, and there will be a less time on copying, pasting, and loading the data. So also strong relationship and a great experience for the customer. That is the center, right? And because you understand where it is bottleneck, and you are able to prevent or immediately take action, because the, you're able to know what is actually is been causing the delay, right? And improve straight through processing. Today, every organization is looking at a straight through processing, and rather than manually correlating the activities and events and action from the different systems, and also validating KPI and SLA and optimizing the operations. Why? Because this is in a continuous iterative process. Your automation is not that one time you do an automation. Now, hey, my enterprise is already, we are already into an intelligent automation path, and we are able to see the ROI. Yeah, no, I mean, this is actually continuous iterative. Some of the automation whatever the automation, continuous iterative monitoring you have to do, and do the change wherever it is required, and a course correction, and strategic initiative, improve productivity and accelerate the business outcome. Try to meet the tight deadline with limited resource and the bandwidth, right? So less time on spending the right side, and you will more uh, uh, time has been spent on the activities, right? So again, how do you do the intelligent automation for people to enhance the productivity and decision making? At the end of the day, whatever the work what you are doing, how always we have to think that how can we augment and enhance the decision making. So you can um, you can build automation such a way that accelerate projects with no code visual interfaces, right? You have to build the solution and provide, like example, on the decision making, right? At least in the banking industry, in the insurance industry, those regulations are keep changing, right? Every time you can't go and build, you have to make it modularized and very configurable products for the user. Like example, any change in the compliance, user should be able to navigate into the solution and very quickly make changes, and it gets applied to the whole processes. Like it could be for an in case of an invoice only, we were talking about that invoice, right? If there is a percentage of GST comes in, right, they will be able to do the quickly these changes and apply. So build there, and then mind the task and process, quickly understand like where, how, what are those repetitive tasks actually can be done by bot instead of the human sending an email, maybe follow up. So identifying them to make so these are the different touch points where you can do the automation to help enhance the productivity. Uh, and also mainly automate the task, orchestrate the work, and also gain intelligence, right? So this is important. You need to have tools, dashboards, which gives a deep insights and helps the user to improve the decision making. Um, and also for the system, basically observe, right? You need to have an tools and solution which will do auto discovery and observability of an entire IT landscape. It could be um, I'm running maybe 20 applications in a different and as I said, data center. Some are in virtual servers, some are in cloud. uh, we should have an tools and solutions such a way that it automatically discover and observe. And then also you need to have a solutions where it should have a mapping the dependencies. Example, I have one application for maybe the company has particular application to serve the customer. The We need to have that monitoring or observability solution such a way that which gives you a single view that what is happening in the user end, and also how the data is actually talking to the different microservices or different flows, right? That map dependencies also your solution should have uh, ability to identify those map dependencies, because it is very important that um, for particular that application you need to have a view into whether user having any latency, user have any difficulty to move into the one page to other. Example, maybe you are doing an online shopping for anything in any website, right? So there will be in the backend the right IT system to observe and have that dependence, right? And which particular users is having actually that latency. Again, you have to build such application that there is no user privacy data flows into these systems. Only they will be able to see the flow, the page flow, that okay, this IP is actually having issues. Maybe user is having a issue to the payment or add to cart. This is, I mean, before even the user, uh, you're not going to wait for the user to raise a support ticket, but you should have tools and solution which has an ability to identify upfront that. And what once you have a solution such a way that it identify the latencies, so that it triggers automatically support ticket to the required team to monitor, because otherwise your there will not, I mean, how IT systems are automated today is basically that once that incident is created, that saying that hey, this is where we are observing, then only human comes in the loop. Otherwise it's almost in an autopilot, right? So I mean, what kind of those systems which have these kind of an capability, which can discover and observe, which can identify the dependencies, which can detect the anomalies, right, over a period based on the data. Since your AI models have been applied, that as I said, that your um, system should contain this detect anomalies capabilities also, and optimize releases, right? Automated feedback on every new releases, and this one, which is also important that as today all the development is very nimble and agile and very continuous development. Like uh, today, some of the development team does every week release, right? So during this every week release, there might be some of the code is breaking the previous working code also, so that you have to have an ability to revert into the identify that which particular release has actually a which code is breaking, and where is actually the bottleneck, and then even the remediation, then understand the performance, right? In each of the layer, right? Infrastructure layer, network layer, so that usually you need to have an ability for the system where it have a supply chain from application to infra level, so that in each of these layers you know what exactly happening for each of the container level, network layer, host level, node level, pod level, in different level, and identify the root cause. So how identify the root cause is basically you should have a trace or the logs such a way that identify uh, exactly pinpointing that this particular call is actually having an error or a warning. So you have to build such sophisticated solution or a platform which will identify the root cause. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is if you have to do your system automation, system intelligent automation, your solution and tools or a platform need to have this capability uh, to give the right automation. And even the third is basically remediate, right? So avoid impacts. So optimize for a performance and reliability before customer impact. This is what like you that your system should have that ability, and allocate the resource, right? This is very important, and allocate a resource also you should have that in your platform to do an automated allocate resources. How it is basically, suppose you have an application and then that is running on a certain resource, right? Memory, the CPU and things. But when the load, then the when incoming requests from and many users are the application at certain time period, then because just because the load has been increased, your production cannot go down, right? Your system should have an ability to access more resource automatically. Like, okay, now my workload is going high. I need to have a more CPU VM. You need to have a tools and platform such a way that which automatically gives you saying that what is that actually in your IT framework, uh, what is utilized properly, right? And also there are times that what happens is in this digital acceleration, we just allocate lot of resources but it's not been used. Like around estimated that 39% of the cloud wastage is happening. What it means is somebody is actually spawned the virtual machine, but they are not even using it. So you need enterprise need to have a such tools and platforms such a way that they should have that view into, hey, these are the 10 things I'm not using, delete them. Like now my workload is getting more, I need more resources, then move, right? So move, delete, resize, all of these automated your solution should be able to give all of these recommendation for the resources is very important so that your applications are seamlessly running and customer experience is there, and resolve the incident also. So AI powered remediation to avoid unnecessary downtime. When you have a data, when you have a tools, then you will be able to get all of this. So it's very important that this is what actually, if you need to have an intelligent IT performance, cost effective performance automation, you need to have a platform and a solution which have observe, analyze, remediate all of these key features in their platform. So that's what like when you have all of these automation in place for enterprise, then it will have a people productivity, scalable business, and scalable systems also. So, as a summary, whatever I've talked about in each of these segments, that broad set of automation on the like basically you need to have an automation like automates which connects across both business and an IT. You need to have that platform or a solution and the tools. So end-to-end connectivity, so that interoperability with 100% of to transform the deliver the data. No code, low code interfaces are very, very important because once you build a solution, this should be very simple to use for business user. And so that without any dependency, they should be able to do their configurations seamlessly. And expert help from start to finish, actually, right? You need to have a engineering team, partner network to realize the automation process in your industry or a domain. So basically, like when you think about automation, you always have to think that like it will be like how human what we are doing, right? So today, like you need to have a software robots, which is basically what we say is an RPA. Then in a workflow automation, where coordination and an orchestration, uh, there are virtual assistants, which is basically able to converse like a human. And as I said, digitization, you need to have such AI powered data capture where it automatically, once you feed in the data, automatically it is able to capture all of the important information, and then content storing is also very important. And overall, how do you apply AI into all of this data? and then so that it helps the decision. So extend human with the digital labor to enable the business at scale. Yeah, this is for the productivity and stuff. I think I would like to show one demonstration that on the banking where all of the one second. Yeah. This is one sample a demo I want to show that if there is an automation in place, then how the customer experience will be here. This is like one bank where they have automated their full loan process, and then how it will be experience for the customer end. I'm not showing any of the back end one because in this scenario everything was IBM product, so that is why I'm just showing that only the customer experience, how this actually automation is achieved through the different platforms and the products. That part I'm not demonstrating, just that how delightful experience for the customer when you have your IT automation and the business automation in place. The customer logs in to the bank website and he is already a customer in that bank. So he has a customer ID and they will log in, and then it retrieves all the information from his account details, and it will present to him on the current the details, and then he will have a banker assistant, which one which is a virtual assistant powered by AI, that it starts assisting him instead of a real human agent. It start understanding that what is a customer need. So here user types in that I need a loan, and virtual assistant says that okay, uh, what is the I want to know the purpose of the loan, whether it is a business or a personal loan. So he says business. Then assistant is presented with actually a page having a question, and you can see that it is available for the user to assist. He provides the information which is needed. Since it's on a business loan, there are business criterias. One, we have taken this a sample once, but yeah, it will be more. Once it submits, actually, it goes and actually stored in the, it connects to the backend and it will ask more details that what is that amount he needs it, right? And it presents with the different option already available. So budget plan different. Then user chooses here that what is the interest rate that he wants to do. So it also helps him and says that hey, keep a financial documents handy. Once you are ready, please fill the loan application form, right? And user selects and whatever the information already bank has it, it's all pre-filled, uh, and it will you can see that it is displays that whatever in the previous step he has selected the loan one. Then also it will ask user to upload the mandatory documents in case like photo, your bank PNL, then PAN card, and trade license and address proof, and so on and so forth. Once user submit, actually what is happening in the background that it is calling an API and extracting the there is a actually automation in the capture the tools which actually retrieves all the informations, and if you can see that this is systematically done, extracted information from all of the PDFs and stuff, and in the next stage it asks user that what is the information actually missing, right? And in this case it can be AI powered with the speech also, so that it is very inclusive. Maybe hold this conversation can be through the speech also. People who cannot type into the messaging platform, it can have a voice also attached to it. So, so it is actually here we have. So here we have added the voice part of it that uh, once all the data has been extracted, it is asking the user what is actually more. It, it's asking that whether the business premises is owned or rented because that information was not in the. So once user says, so it's asking that whether it is a partnership. Basically, it is a voice assistant also. I'm not too sure that in the video it is coming or not. Uh, Next is an Aadhaar. It is validating because it's in an Indian context. Get OTP and done. And actually, it goes to the preview also. Here you can see that this is what is actually capture flow workflow automation has been done here. That all of these applications is automatically filled, and then once you accept the agreement, it says that inputs are saved and this is what is your loan amount and it is approved, right? So in the back end there is an automation on the decision that whether it can be done. Again, next step is actually a manual intervention, but if you have a right platform and tools where you can see that all of the input what the user has given are all flown and stored um, in the right system where users just have to go and verify because data is already extracted and the decision also it will help that what the decision actually tool is giving if you have a complete end-to-end scenario. This is actually we have implemented on IBM platforms and where the bank is providing the whole loan amount, a whole loan approval through the digital bank. So these kind of an automation you can, these kind of an customer experience you can see wherever we have an intelligent automation in place. So thank you for listening. Reach out to me for your more queries. Thank you.